Numbers are being drawn for the Vietnam lottery. Birth dates are assigned to chosen numbers. I was born on October 30th, 1946. I am number 38. I have won the lottery. I'm called to service and will be leaving in about 6 months. I am going to Vietnam. The farewell party at Christina's bar on Shore Road is animated, energetic, and unruly. The women from the College of New Rochelle are all there. Sarah Lawrence, too. Smooth, smart, unforgiving, and beautiful. It's a going-away party of sorts for those of us who have won the lottery. Now, the only thing I ever won in my life before this was in an American Legion-sponsored Cub Scout raffle, a plastic model of a German Messerschmitt 109. I liked building the model, but because I never read the directions, I had no landing gear on any of my models, so I hung them from the ceiling of my tiny bedroom, flying around the Roy Rogers Cowboy Campfire theme lighting fixture. I liked model airplanes. After all, I won one, and often would go to Kenny's department store to buy others. The P-47 Thunderbolt, the Mustang P-51, the British Spitfire, the Japanese Zero, and of course, the plane my father flew over the Pacific as a 21-year-old navigator, the B-24 Mitchell bomber. Sometimes my cousin Joseph would buy a model and give it to me, but without the glue. He would sniff that. Christina is at the party. She is a beautiful woman from Trinidad or Tobago. She has a significant smile. The last thing I remember is that smile, framed by white hair with a long, thick braid and tawny, flawless skin. It's a warm night, and the moon is bright and full, causing a dangerously high tide. I am driving fast as I think about my deployment to Vietnam, getting closer and closer and closer. I'll get killed, I tell myself. I can't go. I'll die. Soon, the reaches of the Shore Road turn into the familiar streets of the boroughs that make up New York City. I'm dropping off a friend in Queens. He has not won the lottery and had come to Christina's to say goodbye. I'm on my way home to our 4.5-room apartment above my father's tailor shop. How can I tell my dad I am scared to death about going? He was shot down in World War II and miraculously survived when a Filipino fishing boat saved him. I cannot tell him I am too scared. I'm driving faster now. The top is down on my Roadster. Now, this is a remarkable car. It is not a model. Fast like the Spitfire, strong like the P-47, low to the ground like the B-24. However, what it cannot do is withstand the abrupt hit when I run a stop sign and I am struck, boom, by a daily news truck delivering the early morning paper. Now, a body in motion tends to stay in motion until something stops it. This is expertly demonstrated as I am pitched out of the cockpit of the Roadster, no seatbelts in those days, over the bonnet of the car, landing on my face and sliding on it until my head hits the curb at Parsons Boulevard and 147th Street in Queens. I come to an abrupt stop. So does my world. When I come to, I have no idea if it's day or night. I can hear I'm alone. I can tell I am in a room. Everything echoes. I can make out the sprinkler system pipes low above me. Is this a basement? I cry out, I can't move. Where am I? Help me. Help me. Will someone please, please, please help me? There are no mirrors in the hospital room. One night, at least I think it is night, it seems dark, I am lifted out of the bed into a wheelchair. A few lights in the hallway are on as I am being wheeled slowly down the corridor. We roll past a shiny marble column, one of the many that grace the halls of this fine old Art Deco building, and I see something in a wheelchair where an unrecognizable lump where a head ought to be, but about twice the size. As we roll slowly by this mirror of sorts, I realize I am what I see. I begin to scream, but no sound comes out. I try to get out of the moving chair, but too many bones are broken. I cannot move. A little over a month in the hospital, and I'm sitting in the office of Dr. Boris Krynicki for our weekly visit. He was the attending physician the night I was brought to Parson General. He saved my life. He's happy I'm alive. So am I. The night they wheeled me into Parsons General, there was a tag on my toe. The interns and the residents were at a moving up ceremony on the quad at Columbia University, and the old-timers, Boris being one, were holding the fort. He decided I was not dead. He saved me for another day. He put 116 stitches in my face, sewed my lip back on, patched my skull, ribs, and knees. This particular afternoon, he has tears in his eyes. He puts his hand on my shoulder to give me the news. You can go. His piercing blue eyes well up. He doesn't mean I can leave the hospital. He means I can go to Vietnam. You can fight, he continues. The communists must be stopped. His hand is tightly gripping my good shoulder. It hurts. I'm finally released from the hospital. At home, I'm sitting in the bay window of my father's tailor shop. I've been home from the hospital for about 2 or 3 days. We're planning on driving to our summer cottage in Pine Bush so I can recuperate. When my father came home from World War II in 1945, he was convinced that the Russians would be a big problem. So he sat down at the kitchen table with a map and a tiny mathematical compass. He put the stub of a pencil in one end and stuck the point of the compass squack in the middle of New York City and drew a circle about 2 inches in diameter, which, according to scale, was about 100 miles away from the Big Apple. A circle 100 miles away from New York City. It was a common belief that if you were 100 miles away from the epicenter of an atomic bomb blast, you could survive. The pencil crosses over a place called Pine Bush. For some reason, the quirky name spikes a chord, and Pine Bush it is. My dad and my uncle Michael pitch in and buy 9 acres of land with a small cottage for about $2,000, just in case the Russians bomb Brooklyn. The family, all of us, use this as an escape from the brutal heat of the city in the summer months. Now, In need of peace and quiet, I go to the country, lie in the sun, and recuperate. My dad says, "You've lost the bounce in your step. The spark in your eye, the glint in your eye, it's gone. You've changed. You used to be so handsome," my mother chimes in. Yes, I have changed. I am different. You really shouldn't have to go. You're so banged up, my dad says. And lucky for me, I don't have to go. My injuries are too severe to serve. It turns out the real lottery I won was getting struck by that truck. Nearly dying actually saved my life. Thanks, Dad. I really don't think I could make it, I admit. I know, son. I know.